this is the thing. We haven't gotten a chance to talk, and you're jumping into comments because I have more I want to say.
Oh, I'm so sorry. Go.
So, like, Captain America Peggy was a big one that I was going to bring up as an absolute great relationship. I think that was one of the best on-screen relationships that they had.
See, I disagree, and
How
here's
you?
why.
Okay.
Now, so that's why I brought it up, because I want to talk about that one too. So I'm glad, and we'll go on this one, and then we'll go into the brackets. But so here's the thing: it was a good relationship.
Mm-hmm.
They started to fall in love over a short period of time. Let's be real.
I mean, there was a couple years in the war, buddy, and
They weren't
sometimes
together
that's
all
how
that
you
long.
find your love. Well, but they never lost their feelings for one another.
Fair. Well, let's face facts. One lost her feelings.
No, she didn't, because he showed back up.
That's his future. That's not her future. She had a whole life. In her timeline, she had a whole
one
life.
multiverse, in one of the many timelines that potentially could be, they had a gorgeous life. So you can't try to base it on every infinite possibility. Otherwise, that's not fair. What we see in the movie is a beautiful relationship of two people who remain in love to the point where she lies through her entire career as a S.H.I.E.L.D. agent, as a founder of S.H.I.E.L.D. She has to lie about Captain America coming back to her, and they create this perfect, tiny little life that they never talk about.
No, here's what happens. Okay? Hate to burst your bubble. They go back in time. They do the little dance in 1945. Mm-hmm. Now, this guy's been through some stuff. Not only has he been through a war, but he's been frozen in ice for 70 years. And then he had to go on almost like a 10-year escapade of just a debacle of a life, like just PTSD in a jar, bottled up, ready to burst at any moment. And now he's back. He doesn't have to be Captain America anymore. He's going to explode. And let me tell you, he's going to become an abusive husband. They're going to have a few kids. He's going to be beating them kids.
Nope.
Just like every 50s father, baby boomer father.
Nope.
The Greatest Generation. My ass.
You really think Steven Rogers, the epitome of goodness and kindness and doing what is right and just, there's no chance that he goes that route.
He's got no time now. But you're basing the timeline on him being her husband the entire time. Mm-hmm. That's not the case. We don't know what that branch in the timeline looked like. Okay, now take away the abuse stuff. I'm kidding. But go back and say, okay, they lived a life together, right? How very different could it be at that point? How does that change that lifestyle? Did she not keep him a secret? Did they just keep going together? What is it? How does that end up? Does he become Hydra Captain America? I think so.
No.
He tries it out.
Absurd.
He puts that suit on.
Way.
He's like, you know what? Nope. He's like, I've already done I've done the good stuff. And I'm going to live out my life and do the bad stuff. And then he's an old man. Then he's an old man sitting there, and he realized he's redeemed himself, became Catholic or whatever, got, whatever by the priest. And then he turned around and he was like, I got to get my life together, go to AA, really pull it together, and I got to give Sam this shield so he can be a good Captain America, which I now know I should have been the whole time.
But he already was in one lifetime, so technically he's good. He's balanced. I think Osiris would be fine.
He uses Captain America persona as a shield, pun intended. He was a repeat domestic abuser.
That's all he did.
He just sits in his chair with it. Like he's got that right in his arm, sitting in his chair with the Schlitz in his hand, watching his programs, his I Love Lucy. The kids are starting.
He's a honeymooners guy. If we're going this route, he's a honeymooners guy.
The kids, yeah, that's right. He can't stand mouthy women because that's who he is. Mm-hmm. He's got Peggy knocked down a few pegs because he's like, we've already done this one. This time it's old Captain Armchair. And then he's slinging the empty beer cans off at Peggy's sister somewhere, Sharon's mom. Just like, why are you living in my house? What good are you, freeloader?
That's awful.
It's so bad. It's so bad that we just rewrote that whole thing.
I mean, a way better light.
And we're talking about good old Captain Armchair.
Armchair. Captain Quit.
There's no America. There's only Armchair. There's only get me a Schlitz.
You know what I saw in 2019? It was some crazy shit.
Bucky Jr., go get me a Schlitz. Because that's what he named all of his kids is Bucky Jr.
There's some variation.
To the end of the line. He's hammered at the dinner table with their little doily cover, and he's at the dinner table just hammered, talking to I don't know, fucking Duggan or whatever his name is.
Hey, Buck Tina, what are you doing? Do the dishes for your mother already.
And it's like one of those old school things, where he's sitting around talking about the war, and he's telling Peggy, go get me another beer. She's like, I have to run Shield now so we can pay the bills because you don't do anything all day. You shut your mouth, woman. I did lots of stuff, and he's just a nightmare to live with. And he's telling his kids all these horrible war stories.
Awful war stories. It talks about Bucky losing his arm all the time.
And there was that time that Howard Stark was off with the two Jolly Girls, and I was watching them from the rafters because I didn't do that sort of thing until 70 years later with your niece. And he points at Peggy.
Yes. Oh, you think you're tough? Well, you know what I did? I beat the tar out of a guy made of iron in an iron suit, and I beat him with my bare hands.
So true. It's I just destroyed him. You know what a purple alien feels like on your fists? Ethan, thanks for joining in, bud. And you can listen to this anytime or watch it anytime, but I appreciate
Thanks for joining, man.
And he's beating Peggy. He says he can do this all day. It's the worst form of a man is what he turned into because he was just bored. There was no more truth and justice.
I no longer like this sulliness of the Captain America and Peggy Carter story.
Because he either turns into that or the alternative where he's still a good man, but he doesn't tell anybody about Hydra infiltrating S.H.I.E.L.D.
Yeah.
It's terrible. Then that makes him an even worse person.
No, it's not. He can't do it. He can't interfere because it would ruin what he has with his wife. And it would take away that opportunity.
Never gone back. Should have never gone back. Because how do you look your wife in the eye every day? How do you look you in the eye every day and not say, hey, this thing you're building, Hydra's all over it?
The same way that she has to look him in the face every day and not tell him all the truth.
Yeah, she was just hooking up with Captain Britain. That's her truth. How does he not tell her about Hydra every day? He drinks all day, sits in his armchair, and throws empty beer cans at people as they walk past his porch. That's what happens. That's what's happening. He lives in New Jersey, too, because that's where S.H.I.E.L.D. was.
Yep.
At least until the 70s. So let's be real. This guy has it terrible, and I feel bad for him.
I mean, he's got a pretty rough go of it there at the end. Yeah, but I can definitely see him actually at 100% being out of Hoboken now is a nice suburb.
No,
trapped in Jersey.
No, if it's in Central Jersey, they're living somewhere they're living like Edison.
Okay.
They're living in Edison, New Jersey, and it's even worse now because it's underdeveloped 1950s Edison, New Jersey. It doesn't have much. It's mostly swampland.
Is there a mill nearby? I feel like there was always mills in these stories.
There's always a mill everywhere.
And then Steve, just randomly wanders down to the grocery store every Sunday and hears the boys talking about the troubles they're having as they watch the NFL games on the telly.
She won't even let him work. He can't work.
No, he can't work.
Because he can't go out. They're going to know who he is.
Absolutely.
So he's
a trapped man. He's trapped himself in this time that he may be miserable in.
He's done for. This is the problem with Captain America.
Isn't that marriage?
This is the worst marriage. This is the worst marriage. And what happens when Peggy's sister has Sharon as a baby? Dude, can you imagine in the 80s when Sharon's born and he just holds the baby at the christening or something? And he's just like, I make out with you one day. And it's just like, and it's like, what?
You're going to be totally into my ass, kid. This is America's ass. Soak it in.
Now deal with it. Oh, yeah, he's just hammered at the church. Of
course,
I totally make out with this little girl at a thing in Germany.
Hey, Padre, you got any more of that good booze sitting back there? A little sacrament? Need a little taste,
Dude, Captain America, Steve Rogers, in this timeline turns into the thing that Peggy has to apologize for at parties.
Everywhere.
He grows that beard again.
That's why he's not even allowed into parties. She's like, I can't take you. She uses the whole cover of, look, I can't take you because they'll know there's someone there who might recognize you. You know, Howard will be there. Maybe, you know, Hank will be there. We can't mess with this. Even though secretly it's like she's going like, oh my God, he's the worst. I cannot deal with him. This man needs a job. I've tried to get him into lumberjacking or something. He'd have to do something remote work and cash only. So maybe he just does lawns. Maybe he's just getting hammered mowing lawns. He's got a landscaping.
That's his job. Because he's got to do something.
Keeping America beautiful.
He's not, and he's not the dad that we all need him to be.
No,
because he's just like, yeah, screw it. Like, how weird is it that he probably had kids and started beating them because they're superhuman and he can do that? Is he's got some sort of concoction in them from the super sperm?
A concoction like his dick.
His dick created a concoction of super soldier children, mixed with Peggy Carter's just like veracity or whatever. That's the best I can come up with. Fair. And then we find out that how is it that Tony Stark was a better father than Steve Rogers?
Because Tony knew he was a piece of crap and had to keep trying, but Steve was just convinced he was the end-all be-all. He's like, do you know what I've done? Do you know who I am?
He's you know why he didn't talk about his marriage to Sam on that bench that day? Because he's like, I need to keep these secrets to myself.
Because I was awful. And I didn't realize it until I was 146. And I just realized how badly I screwed up.
When did you get cleaned up, Steve? Around 1999.
It was after that Real World girl on the Hawaii show. I decided I had to clean up too. Frankie was my inspiration. Yeah.
And she was from Jersey too.
There you go.
Oh, poor girl. This would make a great episode or two of what that would be. That would be the best. What if Steve Rogers became an everyday man like in the 1950s was?
Just an average dude. Becomes hyper racist.
He's just pulling tail everywhere. He goes down to the neighborhood bars and he's just like, you know who I am? And he can't tell him. So he's like, you see that pinball machine with Captain America's face? Kind of look like him, don't I?
Bet you I can beat you in pinball.
He's hooking up with girls. Oh my God. When I said pinball machine in a bar and I said hooking up with girls, I did not. I'm not talking about Witness. Not Witness, the accused.
Oh my God. I didn't even think about that. Oh.
Let's get out of this one. All right.
Villains bracket.
Villains bracket, shall we? Sean, what's going on?
Hey,
Steve
Sean.
is the reason the TVA took Peggy, so he is not talking.
He's not only the worst husband, he actually is the reason that she gets taken away and like removed from this world.
They show her at the TVA what her life was like without him, and she's like, it was so much better.
It was so good. I had no idea it was going to be so good.
Why couldn't I die of Alzheimer's and when I was really old and not be with this monster? Oh my God. All right, let's go to the brackets. So it's night 2 of the bracket.